To save my critically ill daughter, I gave up a Nobel Prize nomination and signed a 3-year marriage contract with my wife. She was born into immense wealth, stunningly beautiful, the golden child pursued by everyone. I willingly endured the contempt of her entire family, just so my daughter could receive the best medical care. But in the 3rd year of our agreement, my mother-in-law, Qin Lan, took advantage of my absence and poured the life-saving bacterial strain I had cultivated down the drain. I was shaking with rage. She just picked at her diamond-studded fingernail dismissively. What's all the fuss about? Just some moldy, rotten beans. My fists clenched. Do you have any idea what that was? That was our child's life. You need to get every last bit of it back. Now, Qin Lan shoved me aside. Who do you think you are, ordering me around? Listen, my daughter is about to marry the scion of Beijing's elite. You and that sickly brat of yours need to get lost. A cold laugh escaped me. I dialed a number. Mr. Huo, your fiancé's mother just destroyed the only drug that could save your sister. 2 words came from the other end. On my way. I hung up. Qin Lan folded her arms, her face a mask of scorn. Putting on a show for who? Mr. Huo, as if you could just dial him up whenever you please. She looked me up and down. Don't think I don't know what this is about. You're just bitter, clinging to my family. Let me tell you, Jiang Chen, my Wanqing is about to become the young mistress of the Huo family. A pauper scholar like you isn't fit to polish her shoes. Arguing was pointless. My mind was filled with the image of those precious cultures swirling down the drain. They were my daughter Niannian's lifeline. Just then, the door opened. My wife, Gu Wanqing, walked in. She wore a high-end Chanel suit, her long hair slightly curled, makeup flawless, as always. She saw me facing off against her mother. What's all the shouting about now? Qin Lan instantly found her pillar of support, grabbing Gu Wanqing's hand. Wanqing, look at this. This useless man is throwing a fit because I threw out some rotten beans he left lying around. Throwing himself around like his life depends on it. And he dared to call Mr. Huo, harassing him. I think he's finally lost his mind over money. Gu Wanqing's gaze settled on me. Jiang Chen, our agreement is almost up. For the past 3 years, I've provided Niannian with the best hospital room and medical team. I've fulfilled every obligation. She pulled a black card from her purse, holding it out. Here's a card. 5 million. Consider it compensation. Take the money, sign the divorce papers, disappear from here, and never bother me or Mr. Huo again. I stared at the card. 5 million. The Nobel Prize money I'd walked away from was worth more than 10 times that. And the LT7 bacteriophage, the culmination of 3 years of relentless work, the only thing that could save Niannian, was worth only 5 million in her eyes? What if I don't sign? Jiang Chen, don't push it, Gu Wanqing said coldly. Do you honestly think you have a choice? I'm informing you as a final courtesy. Qin Lan chimed in. Exactly. Take a look in the mirror. See what you really are. A freeloader living off a woman, daring to negotiate terms with us? Without our Gu family, you and that sickly brat would have starved on the streets long ago. At that moment, my phone rang. The hospital. Mr. Jiang? It's bad. Miss Niannian's condition has deteriorated suddenly. You need to come. Now. My mind exploded. Nothing else mattered. I turned to bolt. Stop. Qin Lan blocked my path. Think you're leaving? Sign the divorce papers first. She slammed a document and a pen onto the hallway console, blocking the exit. My daughter's future is far more important than that sickly child's life. If you don't sign today and delay Wanqing and Mr. Huo's wedding, I'll make sure you regret it. Gu Wanqing stood silently nearby, tacitly endorsing her mother's actions. Time was Niannian's lifeblood. I shoved Qin Lan aside. She stumbled, nearly falling. You dare push me? She shrieked. I ignored her, sprinted out of the villa, hailed a cab, and raced to the hospital. My hands trembled violently in the car. I told myself over and over to stay calm. But thinking of Niannian, the L7 phage, my only hope, destroyed by that ignorant, malicious woman. When I reached the hospital, Niannian was already in the emergency room. The red light above the door glared. My legs gave way, and I slid down the wall. The chief physician, Professor Zhang, saw me and sighed. Mr. Jiang, it's critical. Niannian's immune system is collapsing. We've tried all conventional treatments with minimal effect. He paused, looking at me gravely. That phage therapy you mentioned, it's her only hope now. Her only hope. Washed down the drain. I don't know how long I sat there. The doors finally opened. Niannian was wheeled out, a ventilator over her face, her small form terrifyingly still. My heart plummeted. Then, sharp staccato clicks echoed down the corridor. Gu Wanqing and Qin Lan had arrived, not for Niannian, but for my signature. Jiang Chen, why did you run? Sign the papers. Qin Lan demanded immediately, waving the divorce document. She glanced at Niannian, unconscious on the stretcher, showing not a shred of pity, only curling her lip. Humph, just a bottomless pit, draining my daughter's money. Better off gone sooner, saves Wanqing the burden. I stood up, my eyes blazing red. Shut up, oh ho, daring to yell at me. Qin Lan planted her hands on her hips, radiating fury. Which part isn't true? If it weren't for the fact she's your daughter, Wanqing would have. Her words died as a figure appeared at the other end of the corridor. A man in an impeccably tailored black suit, tall and imposing, radiating an aura of absolute authority. Several equally sharp-suited assistants followed him. Huo Yan. Seeing him, Qin Lan and Gu Wanqing's eyes lit up instantly. Their expressions of malice and impatience vanished, replaced by fawning delight. Mr. Huo, what brings you here? Qin Lan rushed forward first. Gu Wanqing smoothed her hair. Ian, you came to see me? You should have called. They assumed he was there for them. Huo Yan didn't even glance their way. He walked straight past them and stopped before me. His gaze swept over Niannian lying unconscious, then settled on me. Jiang Chen, what you said on the phone, is it true? The LT7 bacteriophage, destroyed. He didn't call me Mr. Jiang, just my name. And the words LT7 bacteriophage from his lips made Gu Wanqing and Qin Lan freeze in place. They couldn't fathom how Huo Yan knew this obscure, technical term they'd barely heard mentioned, nor why he'd come personally to confront me about it. I met Huo Yan's eyes and nodded. Yes. Qin Lan finally sensed something was wrong. She spoke cautiously. Mr. Huo, what bacteriophage? Did this useless liar tell you some nonsense? Don't believe a word he says. He's a fraud. Huo Yan turned sharply. Qin Lan flinched, her words choking off. Ignoring her, Huo Yan took a file from his assistant and threw it at Gu Wanqing's feet. See for yourself. Puzzled, Gu Wanqing picked it up and opened it. After one glance, her face drained of color. It was a medical record. Patient name, Huo Yao. Diagnosis, the exact same rare hereditary immunodeficiency disease as Niannian. And under a treatment plan, several words stood out starkly. LT7 bacteriophage targeted therapy. Sole option, the only hope. Gu Wanqing swayed. The file slipped from her trembling hands, scattering pages on the floor. She looked up, disbelief etched on her face, staring at me, then at Huo Yan. Qin Lan craned her neck to see, then went completely rigid. This can't be. Huo Yan gave them no time to process. Gu Wanqing, my sister, Huo Yao, has the same disease as your daughter. Worldwide, Jiang Chen is the only person who can produce the cure. Now tell me, what exactly did your mother pour down the drain? Gu Wanqing's lips trembled. No sound came out. Qin Lan finally grasped the magnitude of her crime. She hadn't thrown away moldy beans. She had destroyed two lives. One, her own granddaughter's. The other, the life of the sole precious daughter of the Huo family, the scion of Beijing's elite. No, it's not true, Mr. Huo. This must be a misunderstanding. Qin Lan lunged forward, trying to grab Huo Yan's sleeve, but was blocked by his bodyguard. I didn't know. I truly didn't know it was so important. It's Jiang Chen's fault. Why didn't he tell me? She babbled, shifting blame wildly. If he'd said it was life-saving medicine, I would never have thrown it away. He did it on purpose. He wants to ruin our Gu family. I looked at her. Didn't I tell you? When I begged you on my knees to give the strain back, what did you say? You said, a sickly brat? If she dies, she dies. Don't drag down my daughter's bright future. Huo Yan's patience was clearly gone. He didn't spare the mother and daughter another glance. Turning back to me, Jiang Chen, come with me. I've arranged the country's most advanced laboratory. Any equipment, any personnel, just say the word. Find a way. Recreate the phage. Save my sister. Save your daughter. I looked at him and shook my head. It's useless. The original LT7 strain was a unique specimen I spent 5 years finding deep in the Amazon rainforest. It took me 3 full years just to stabilize it for cultivation. Now, the original sample is gone. The cultivated product of 3 years is gone. We have to start from scratch. Niannian and your sister, they don't have that kind of time. Huo Yan's face darkened considerably. His chief assistant murmured something in his ear. Huo Yan nodded, then looked back at me. Professor Zhang says Niannian has a month. At most, a month. I repeated numbly. Impossible. Finding the strain, isolating it, cultivating it, inducing mutations, screening. Each step required immense time and luck. A month wasn't even enough for preparation. Suddenly, Gu Wanqing, who had been silent, rushed to me and grabbed my arm. Her hand was ice cold, trembling violently. Jiang Chen, you must have a way, right? You're so brilliant. You gave up the Nobel Prize. You must have a way to save Niannian. Please, save her. The Nobel Prize. I paused, then understood. Huo Yan's file must have detailed my identity. So, she knew I was capable. She just didn't care. Or rather, against the Gu family's colossal fortune and the Huo family's overwhelming power, my brilliance was insignificant. Only now, facing disaster, did she remember I was once a scholar standing at the pinnacle of my field. How laughable. I shook off her hand. It's too late for that now. No, it's not too late. Gu Wanqing shook her head frantically, tears finally spilling. Didn't you always want your own lab? I'll give it to you. The Gu family will build you the world's best lab. Money is no object. And, she bit her lip, if you save Niannian, I won't divorce you. We can be like before, okay? She thought what she was offering now was still what I coveted. Unnecessary, Ms. Gu. I appreciate the sentiment. But Mr. Huo has already provided everything. Though the hope was slim, I would try. I'll do my best. Huo Yan nodded. Whatever you need. Say the word. He glanced at his watch, issuing orders to his assistant. Notify all Huo Group medical resources. Unconditional access for Mr. Jiang Chen. Effective immediately. Terminate all cooperation with the Gu Group. Release a statement. The Huo family severs all ties with the Gu family. Marrying into the Huo family was the Gu Group's biggest strategic move in years. Their stock price had soared because of it. Now, Huo Yan's words shattered all their hopes. No, Mr. Huo, you can't do this. Qinlan screamed. Our Wanqing truly loves you. For you. She was divorcing this useless man. How can you do this over something so trivial? Trivial. Huo Yan cut her off, his voice glacial. To me, my sister's life is paramount. His gaze swept over the mother and daughter. And you destroyed her only chance. Not pursuing criminal charges is the extent of my mercy. He signaled his bodyguards. Escort them out. This is the ICU. They are disturbing Mr. Jiang and the patient. Yes, sir. Two bodyguards stepped forward, taking Qinlan firmly by the arms. She struggled wildly. Jiang Chen, you ungrateful wretch. We fed you for 3 years. This is how you repay us. I hope you die a miserable death. Gu Wanqing didn't struggle. She just stood there, staring at me dazedly. Only as the guards reached the door did she seem to snap out of it, shouting back at me, Jiang Chen, were you scheming against us from the very beginning? I didn't answer. Scheming? All my thoughts, all my scheming, had been for my daughter. They had destroyed everything. The corridor finally fell silent. Huo Yan looked at me, his expression grave. Jiang Chen, I know time is critical, but you must stay focused. I took a deep breath, forcing down the storm of emotions. I know. My mind snapped into clinical mode. I need a fully sterile BSL for lab. Highest clearance, top-of-the-line equipment, everything. I also need access to all global clinical data on immunodeficiency diseases from the past decade. And contact someone for me. I gave him a name. My Cambridge mentor, Professor Anderson. Huo Yan listened, then immediately turned to his chief assistant. You heard Mr. Jiang. Make it happen. I want results within the hour. Yes, Mr. Huo. The assistant nodded sharply and began making calls. This was the power of the Huo family. Resources that would have taken me months, even years, to secure were mobilized with a single command. I pushed aside the turmoil and focused on the immediate problem. Without the original strain, it was hopeless. Wait, the original strain. My head snapped up. I looked at Huo Yan. There might be a way. His eyes sharpened. What way? A backup. I have a backup sample. It wasn't the original rainforest strain, but the initial generation I'd brought back 3 years ago, before any mutation processing. Its viability and stability were far inferior to the destroyed product. It was even slightly toxic, but it was my only hope now. Where is it? Huo Yan pressed. I sent it to Professor Anderson, just for academic exchange. I never thought. It had become the final lifeline. I'll have someone retrieve it immediately, Huo Yan stated. Too slow, I countered. The fastest flight from the UK takes over 12 hours. Customs for live biological samples is incredibly complex. Niannian can't wait. Huo Yan's brow furrowed again. What then? I met his gaze. Use your private jet. Request a special flight path. Top military clearance. Direct international transport. Huo Yan didn't ask a single question. He pulled out his phone and dialed. His words were rapid, filled with military jargon I couldn't fully grasp. A few minutes later, he hung up and nodded. Done. The plane leaves London in 2 hours. ETA 6 hours. My people are already liaising with Professor Anderson. A fraction of the tension gripping me eased. 6 hours. Add lab preparation. If everything went perfectly, I could start new cultures before dawn. It was still a race against the Reaper, but now there was a sliver of hope. Thank you, I said sincerely. He waved it off, his gaze drifting towards the room behind me. Don't thank me. This is cooperation. You saved my sister. I provide the means. Jiang Chen, I only care about results. I understood. There was no friendship here, only a transaction. And the stakes of this deal were 2 young lives. I couldn't lose. I couldn't afford to lose. The lab Huo Yan arranged was on the hospital's top floor. It had been a secret VIP medical center. Now, the entire floor was cleared and transformed into my domain. Instruments I'd only seen in top scientific journals, representing the pinnacle of global technology, streamed in, installed, and calibrated to my specifications. All the clinical data I needed was transmitted to my computer within half an hour. Professor Anderson's video call connected an hour later. Seeing me, the white-haired professor looked profoundly relieved. Jiang, my boy, finally, I've been trying to reach you for 3 years. I thought you'd vanished. Do you know the Nobel Committee contacted me several times? I managed a weak smile. Professor, it's a long story. I need your help. I quickly outlined the situation. Professor Anderson's expression turned instantly serious. Understood. The sample you sent me 3 years ago is secure in my private cryostorage. Liquid nitrogen, constant minus 196 degrees Celsius. Viability is uncompromised. Mr. Huo's representatives are here now. I'll hand it over immediately. Jiang, remember, the L7 strain is notoriously unstable. You have one chance. You must succeed. I know. After hanging up, I plunged into preparations, analyzing data, designing a new cultivation protocol, simulating procedures. Time bled away. When the clock hit 4 a.m., the lab door opened. A technician in full biohazard gear strode in, carrying a silver metal cryogenic transport case emblazoned with prominent military embargo signs. Huo Yan followed. It's here. My heart leaped into my throat. I stepped forward and opened the case myself. Inside lay a single, small cryogenic vial. On its side, a familiar label, LT7. My hands trembled slightly. This was it, my final hope. With extreme care, I extracted the vial and placed it into the thawing unit. Every step from here had to be flawless. Separation, purification, inoculation. I donned sterile gloves, picked up the pipette, and immersed myself completely in the procedure. The lab hummed with the sound of machinery. Huo Yan watched silently from the observation window. I lost track of time. By the time I completed the final step, placing the petri dish into the incubator, dawn was breaking. I peeled off my gloves and mask. My scrubs were soaked with sweat. I walked to the observation window and gave Huo Yan a thumbs up. Now we wait, I said, my voice hoarse. The new protocol should theoretically cut the cultivation time from 3 years to about 2 weeks. But how long exactly? Depends on LT7's mood. This is the fastest possible. Leaving the lab, I was surprised to find Gu Wanqing waiting outside. She looked haggard, dark circles under her eyes, her designer's suit rumpled. Seeing me, she rushed over. Jiang Chen, how is it? I ignored her, walking past. She followed, clutching the hem of my lab coat. I'm sorry, my mother. The police took her. I stopped. Police. Mr. Huo pressed charges. When they searched our home, they found irregularities in my father's company accounts. The company is bankrupt. Our house, cars, everything's frozen. Jiang Chen, we have nothing left. She looked up, tears welling. I know I was wrong. Truly, I shouldn't have treated you and Niannian that way. Give me another chance, please. For Niannian. For Niannian. If Huo Yan hadn't appeared, if the LT7 phage hadn't also held Huo Yao's life, she'd be basking in the glow of preparing for her grand wedding right now. Niannian and I would have been discarded like trash. My survival wouldn't have concerned her. Niannian would have been just a burdensome afterthought. Now, with the Gu family ruined and her path blocked, she remembered Niannian. I pulled my coat free. The moment your mother poured out that strain, and you stood by and did nothing, it was over. What you need to do now isn't beg for my forgiveness. Go beg your daughter. See if she is willing to forgive the mother who nearly killed her. I didn't look back. I pushed open the door to Niannian's room. She was still unconscious, her breathing faint. I sat by her bed, holding her cold little hand. Niannian, don't be scared. Daddy's here. Daddy found the medicine to save you. You'll be better soon. Be strong. Hold on. Please hold on. I stayed by her side for a day and a night. Huo Yan visited once. We discussed the progress in the incubator. Gu Wanqing didn't disturb me again. On the third day, the incubator delivered good news. The LT7 bacteriophage had successfully activated, and its proliferation rate was faster than anticipated. Within a week, the first batch would be ready for clinical use. I relayed this to Huo Yan and Professor Jiang. A collective sigh of relief went through them. The following days, I lived in the lab, monitoring the phage's growth obsessively. Every minute, every second, was precious. Finally, 1 week later, at dawn, I successfully extracted the first dose of high-purity LT7 bacteriophage preparation. It shimmered in its specialized syringe, a faint, almost dreamlike blue, the color of life. I carried it to Niannian's room. Professor Zhang and a team of specialists were waiting. Huo Yan was there too. His sister, Huo Yao, had been transferred to the same hospital in the room next door. Mr. Jiang, ready? Professor Zhang asked. I nodded. The nurse slowly injected the solution into Niannian's fore. Everyone held their breath, eyes fixed on the monitors. Time crawled. Then, a miracle unfolded. Niannian's blood oxygen saturation began a slow, steady climb. Her erratic heart rate gradually smoothed into a strong, steady rhythm. It's working. Professor Zhang gripped my hand, his voice thick with emotion. Success, Mr. Jiang. You've created a medical miracle. I watched the color slowly return to my daughter's cheeks. The tension that had held me captive for over 2 weeks finally snapped. Overwhelming exhaustion hit me like a wave. Darkness swallowed my vision, and I collapsed. I dreamed. A long, vivid dream. I was back 3 years ago, on the stage at Cambridge, declining the Nobel Prize, turning to board a plane back to China. Everyone called me insane. Only I knew I had to return, because I had a daughter diagnosed at birth with a rare, fatal disease. And her mother, Gu Wanqing, was the heiress to one of China's most powerful families, the Gu Group. Our meeting had been an accident. She was the Gu family princess. I was just a penniless student, brilliant in my field, but possessing nothing else. Our union was cursed from the start, especially by her mother, Qianlan. Niannian's birth plunged our relationship into an icy abyss. Qianlan believed my genes had cursed her granddaughter, tarnishing the Gu family's noble bloodline. I spent everything I had trying to save Niannian. Finally, I had to bow to the Gu family. Gu Wanqing offered me a contract, 3 years of marriage. She would provide Niannian with the best medical care. I would abandon all my research and play the role of the obedient live-in son-in-law. For Niannian, I agreed. I gave up my career, my dignity, my everything. I thought enduring humiliation, being utterly subservient, would buy my daughter's safety. I was wrong. I underestimated human malice. I overestimated the shreds of a long-dead marriage. When I awoke, I was in a luxurious private hospital room. Huo Yan sat on a nearby sofa, reviewing documents. Seeing me stir, he set them aside and approached. You slept for 2 days. Niannian, I asked urgently. She's stable. All vitals are strong. She managed a little rice porridge this morning. My sister, Huo Yao, is the same. Jiang Chen, you succeeded. I exhaled a long, shuddering breath. The boulder crushing my chest was finally gone. Thank you. The thanks are mine, Huo Yan stated. I've honored my commitment. An independent biomedical research institute bearing your name is being established. Seed funding, 1 billion yuan. Research whatever you wish. No one, nothing, will constrain you again. I looked at him, emotions swirling. 3 years ago, I gave up everything. 3 years later, I had gained so much more, in a way I never imagined. Fate was indeed strange. And Gu Wanqing, I asked. She came, tried to bargain with the Gu family's remaining assets for her mother's reduced sentence. I refused. Qianlan and her father face multiple counts of financial fraud. The evidence is irrefutable. They'll spend the rest of their lives in prison. As for Gu Wanqing, he paused. She transferred all her personal assets to a charitable foundation for children with rare diseases like Niannian's. Then, she bought a one-way ticket to Africa, said she wanted to see the place you spent 5 years. I was silent. Africa, atonement, escape, or both? It didn't concern me anymore. 1 month later, Niannian was discharged. She was still thin, but bursting with energy, running and jumping again. She held my hand, pulling me across the lawn of the new institute. Huo Yao, much recovered and older, acted like a protective big sister to Niannian. The shared ordeal had forged a deep bond between them. Huo Yan visited several times, always bearing new, fascinating toys and treats. Jiang Chen, he said once. The Huo family owes you an immense debt. Anything you need, ever, just ask. I smiled and nodded. Thank you. The Institute's development progressed smoothly. Professor Anderson accepted my invitation, bringing his team from Cambridge. I want to tackle more medical challenges with you, he said. Our first project, optimizing and scaling the LT7 phage therapy, making it not a privilege for the few, but a beacon of hope for many. Life seemed to have found its rhythm. One afternoon, I was drawing with Niannian. She drew a picture: blue sky, white clouds, green grass. On the grass, two stick figures, one big, one small, holding hands. Daddy, look, it's us. It's beautiful, sweetheart. Daddy, where's mommy? She looked up at me, her innocent eyes wide. It was the first time she'd asked about Gu Wanqing since leaving the hospital. I hesitated, unsure how to answer. Should I tell her mother had given up on her, or that she'd gone far away? Mommy went to a place where people need her help, I said finally. Niannian nodded, not fully understanding. Will she come back? I don't know, I answered honestly. Maybe, maybe not. But whether she comes back or not, I touched her cheek gently. Our story has turned a new page. Just then, my phone rang. An unknown international number. I hesitated, then answered. Jiang Chen, it's me, Gu Wanqing. I saw the mobile clinics you donated. Thank you for letting me keep some dignity that way. It took me a moment. Huo Yan had asked how to handle the assets Gu Wanqing transferred. I'd said, donate it all. In the Gu Group's name, build mobile clinics in Africa. Let it be an act of atonement for her and her family. Don't thank me. It was your money. Silence stretched on the other end. Then, I heard the muffled sound of crying. Jiang Chen, I'm sorry. I truly know how wrong I was. Can we? No. I cut her off gently but firmly. Gu Wanqing, look forward. For yourself. For Niannian. Let her know her mother is someone trying to be better, in her own way. I hung up. I didn't need to hear her remorse or apologies. Some wounds, once inflicted, never truly heal. Some trust, once shattered, can't be rebuilt. A broken mirror remains broken. Another year passed. Optimized by our team, the LT7 phage therapy had become significantly more affordable and was included in the National Health Insurance Program. Thousands of children like Niannian were given a new lease on life. The Institute's reputation soared. Several new research projects by my team and Professor Anderson's shocked the scientific world once more. This time, when the call came from Stockholm, I didn't refuse. On the day of the ceremony, I walked the red carpet, Niannian's hand firmly in mine. Under the spotlights, looking down at my daughter's radiant smile, I felt like I held the entire world. Life back home settled. My world revolved between the Institute and home. In my free time, I read, drew, and went to amusement parks with Niannian. Huo Yan occasionally brought Huo Yao over. Our gatherings of four were always filled with laughter. He hinted more than once that Huo Yao liked me, that his family approved. I always politely declined. One failed marriage had made me cautious about love. For now, all my love was for my daughter. The future? It would unfold as it may. On another quiet weekend afternoon, I was pushing Niannian on the swing in the Institute's garden when my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. A photo. A woman with sun-baked skin, dressed in vibrant local fabrics, standing amidst a group of African children, laughing freely. Gu Wanqing. Beneath it, a single line. Jiang Chen, thank you. I am well now. I looked at the photo for a long moment. Then, I pressed delete. Daddy, what are you looking at? Niannian jumped off the swing and ran to my side, curious. I slipped the phone back into my pocket, smiling as I ruffled her hair. Nothing, sweetie. Just a message from an old friend. I took her small hand. Come on, Niannian. Let's go home. The past. It was time to let it go. Niannian and I had a future, and it was only just beginning.